We're here north of Moab, Utah in the middle of March in 2022, getting ready to head over and ride White Rim Road. It's going to be a 2-day, 1-night adventure for me. It's going to be my first real overnight trip. I don't spend a lot of overnights with a bike because I have a camper, so usually it's day trips for me. I lucked out and got a reservation for Potato Bottom last minute, like yesterday. Somebody must have canceled, so got lucky there and got everything loaded up. I don't normally carry camping gear on my bike either, so it probably looks like I have a lot of crap, but really I don't have anything extra hardly. It's just this thing. I don't really like how this bag packs, this giant loop Great Basin bag. I'm not really a big fan of the packing of that because you can't keep it very organized, I don't feel. So probably switch that eventually, but anyway, should be a fun experience. It's like 22 miles. I'm over here on Willow Springs Road, like a half mile off the highway, and it's like 22 miles over to where the Shafer Trail starts, and then from Shafer Trail over to Potato Bottom it's 66 miles or so. So I'm gonna have about 88 miles today, and should be a good time. Enjoy the ride. So we're just here at the entrance for Canyonlands Island in the Sky District outside of Moab, Utah today, getting ready to head out on White Rim Road. It's going to be an overnight trip for me. You have to have a permit for overnights. You also have to have a permit for day use too, but they're separate permits. If you have an overnight permit, you don't need a day use permit. Overnight permit was $41 for the bike and me for one night. You'll need a park entrance fee, of course, as well. Hello there. How's it going?
Good.
Good, thank you.
Great. And would you like a map?
I don't need a map.
Okay, have fun out there.
Thank you. Yep. Once you turn off the pavement, you'll be headed down Shafer Trail. A permit is not required to drive on Shafer Trail, so it is possible to head down this a ways to the bottom and turn around at the outhouse, or continue on out Potash Rd back towards Moab. Pretty quickly, you'll start descending the switchbacks down towards White Rim Road. You'll see there's still some snow along the edge of the road here.
It is mid-March, but had the weather been a little different, there's a possibility there still could have been snowpack on the road even now. I'm guessing this shady section here doesn't get much or any sun during the winter. So keep that in mind. You might want to check the road conditions. A backcountry office should know that information. I don't think I would want to road a motorcycle down here if the switchbacks were covered in snowpack. The switchbacks are pretty tight and flat and covered in a light, dusty, loose dirt. Kind of wants to push around under your tire, a little bit like sand. Left me with a little bit of an uneasy feeling there at first, so definitely start out slow around these switchbacks so I don't go sailing off the mountain here. Well, if I'm being honest, I'm kind of glad to be down off of the switchbacks there on Shafer Trail. Made me just a little bit on the nervous side. Looks like we got some flat straight right ahead of us, so get some miles behind us and work our way around there. I think our next stop will be Musselman Arch. So I lied, the next stop was not Musselman Arch. It will be, but first stop, important, the bathroom. I had to pee. Been 28 miles this morning and drank 2 glasses of tea before I left. And this is also the intersection with Potash Road. Potash Road runs you over back to Highway 191 near Moab. And actually, technically, to drive, you don't have to have a permit to drive to here. So you could actually make a loop out of Potash and Shafer if you wanted, or Shafer and Potash, whatever. But not sure anything about Potash Road or the conditions of that. But we are at the signage for permit required beyond here, but you would be able to drive Potash and Shafer Trail, I suppose, without a permit. Beyond this, you either have to have an overnight permit or a day permit. I believe they give 50 day permits daily, 25 are reservable on recreation.gov, and 25 are available in person, or the remainder of the 50 if all the 25 online ones aren't bought up. There's limited camping on this route. You'll need to get reservations plenty in advance or luck out like me on a cancellation. I'm staying at Potato Campground or Potato whatever Potato Site B. So that's about 2/3 of the way around the road, which depending on what you're driving is maybe not ideal. I think it'll be fine for me today. On a Jeep or something maybe a little slower, not great probably. Of course, you can also drive the road counterclockwise. So we're going clockwise, but there's nothing that says that you have to do that. You could start on Mineral Bottom Road and come around and go out Shafer or even out Potash. So anyway, we're getting ready to head on out. Well, we're almost to Musselman Arch area. I believe it's just right on down there, but
Before you get there, there's a Colorado River Overlook. I don't think it's very far out there. I'm going to take a quick walk. I'm not sure, you might even be able to drive on out there. Actually, the road over here to the Colorado River Overlook is not that bad. That way it looked there at first, I thought maybe it's going to be a bunch of choppy rock steps or something, but it would have been fine. I'm like halfway over here now though, I think. It's definitely further than I thought it was going to be. But it's good to get off and get some exercise, right? So a little walk over here wouldn't hurt me. There it is, the Colorado River, eventually running down through the Grand Canyon. I suppose it's been partially responsible for carving this out as well. Eventually, later on in the trip, we'll see the Green River, which dumps into the Colorado down there in the Needles district of Canyonlands. Nice little hike over there to that. That's called Confluence Trail. I believe under certain conditions, you can also drive out there. Of course, that also requires a permit, and I think that trail is a lot worse than this and a lot more technical. And at times, it's not even open. So anyway, it was maybe a quarter mile over here. I didn't really keep track, but it wasn't that far of a walk. But as far as the drive goes, the drive would have been fine too. Well, we're here at the Musselman Arch stop, just a quarter mile after the Colorado River Overlook. I guess I should have took the opportunity to drive to the Colorado River Overlook, because you do have to walk to this one. It's not very far out there though either, so we're gonna head on out there and check it out, see how it looks. And it is just a very short walk over here. Now, as tempted as you're gonna be to go out there and get a picture, remember you're not allowed to walk on the arches here in Canyonlands or Arches National Park, or I'm sure any other national park. I say this because if you're from Sedona or ever been to Sedona and got your picture on Devil's Bridge, you are allowed to do that for the time being, but not here in Canyonlands, so we won't be going out there. Enjoy the view from here. Honestly, these rock columns back here, I'm not sure what you call those. Pillars, columns, toadstools. Those are pretty cool too. We're here at the airport camping areas on White Rim Road, about 16.8 miles from the start of Shafer Trail. It's time to break for lunch. If you are overnighting here on White Rim Road, all the designated camping areas have toilet systems, so that's good to note. You don't have to worry about that. There are other areas of Canyonlands where you're required to take a toilet system or some sort of human waste management system. Luckily here you don't have to worry about that. Those are provided for you. As a camper note, I would always make sure to bring some extra toilet paper in case, because you never know about that. But gonna break for a little lunch here. It's about probably 1 o'clock. I'm not making a lot of progress. That's my only concern at this point. The road's decent, but I'm just doing too many stops probably. So hopefully we get over to Potato Bottom before it gets dark. I'm sure your curiosity is piqued about the conditions of the bathroom. Well, there is toilet paper, some spare gloves on the air freshener it looks like, and plenty of dribble all around the toilet, but you know, hey, what can you ask for out here? Well, it's about 2:40 in the afternoon here. I still have 30 miles to go to get to Potato Bottom Campground. Just stopped to take a break, take a couple pictures here. I haven't taken very many pictures today, although it seems like I've been making a lot of stops or something. I haven't been making great time. It's the trail so far really has been pretty basic road. I mean, it's not smooth, but it's not difficult, not technical per se. So I'm hoping between here and the campground it doesn't really get more technical, because I'd like to continue to make some decent time. And I'm starting to think maybe 60 some miles of the trail is probably too much for a day for me. Maybe some people could probably make it in less. I probably make too many stops, you know. I don't feel like I could go much faster than what I'm going safely. So anyway, we're making our way around there. Gonna stop and enjoy a little bit of view of some of the island in the sky landmarks here. All mountains in the background, and have an apple and take a short break and be back on the road.
warm up for what's about to come, I'm approaching Murphy Hogback. It's a steep shelf road with a pretty sustained climb up a rocky section with a grade of about 20%.
Did I smash it? No, I don't think so.
Well, now that I've got that out of the way and everything's still in one piece, it's time to head on down the other side. Luckily, it's not nearly as steep, and looking back on this, I think I'm glad I did it the direction I did. I'm not sure that I would want to go down that steep side of Murphy Hogback, but everybody has their own preferences on how to do things, and you can certainly ride it either way. Okay, well, we're coasting, I guess. We're coasting. Coasting wasn't what I had in mind. Not sure how I killed it, but I'm sure you're beginning to wonder if I'm ever going to make it to my destination here on day one, and I was beginning to ask myself the same thing by this point, probably before this point, but I'm almost there. I'm coming up on the Green River here shortly. It's probably Potato Bottom B is not the best choice of camping areas to stay at, as you're driving about 3/4 of the trail on day one, leaving with just a short section, a fairly simple trail to get yourself out on day two. Of course, I took the only option that was available to me. Had I planned significantly in advance, of course, I would have tried to have gotten one of the campgrounds closer to the halfway point. Naturally, those always get taken first, so I took what I could get here, and we'll be there in a few minutes. Well, we're here. Potato Bottom B, my spot for the night. Honestly, I've never been so glad to get off this thing, I think. Had I known the full extent of what I was getting into, I might have chickened out. That hill section, whatever you call it, it has a name. I will put that on the screen here, but that thing, that F word thing, tough. I mean, I'm a novice, so this is probably not your best first real trail to ride. I mean, I made it after I hit that rock. Luckily that was like at the top and it didn't like throw me off the edge, and luckily I got started back up. I didn't quite make that curve there at the top. I just think I had tunnel vision, and luckily no harm done, and made it up that. But anyway, won't leave us a lot to go out tomorrow. I don't know if it's like another I don't know, I'll try to throw it on the screen. I feel like it's around like 40 miles or something, but after having done that today, I would say for sure don't think I would ever want to attempt to drive that all in a day. Even if I got started earlier, and maybe if I was parked closer, you know, that would have helped. I wouldn't have had to ride like 25 miles on the slab over here, but still, I just don't think I would want to put myself through all that in a day. I think it just would wear me out. I'm not bad. I mean, like, I'm not super fatigued at this point, but you know, if there's another 40 miles of it, you know, if it's any tricky parts, you know, once I don't know if I'm like everybody, if I get fatigued, it's just gonna go south in a hurry. So here we are anyway. I'm gonna get off this thing and set my tent up, get my boots off, put my Crocs on here. I'm sure you get a good laugh out of those, but it's been a great day, and I'm ready to eat some supper. I should have mentioned it's right at 6 o'clock on the money, and I left my camper at about 9:15 this morning. I've went like 88 miles, I believe. So about 26 of that was on the pavement. And so it's about 62 miles or something on the trail, including Shafer, of course. I think that'll leave like around 40 tomorrow, give or take. It took me longer than I expected. I mean, it's still plenty of time to set things up. I just figured I'd be here a little earlier in the afternoon, but it's not as fast going as I had thought it might be, which is fine. But anyway, I'm gonna dig my stuff out of this giant loot bag. This is probably gonna be finding a new owner. I just really don't care for it. I don't like
how it packs the stuff. So much stuff ends up on top here to fill the space, and it's just kind of annoying. I would rather have them a little wider and lower. But anyway, I got all my camping gear in here. Gonna set up my tent, get some supper started, and we'll see you in a bit. So I've got camp set up here. The sun is starting to set. It is 6:30. Cooking some spaghetti here, real spaghetti. I brought some frozen spaghetti sauce with meat in it. So that's probably thawed out by now, I'm sure. So we're just waiting on the spaghetti to finish cooking. And if you're wondering about my fuel, that was one of my biggest concerns about this trip, was the fuel, because the bike holds 3.8 US gallons, and I've went through 2.16 gallons so far in like 88 miles or something. That leaves me, I'm only getting 40 miles of the gallon, which is less than what I would normally get, but so it's a good thing I got some extra gas, because right now it's like 40 miles back to my camper, and doing the math, I have about 41 miles worth of gas left. So I have like it's like 1,300 milliliters. It's like a camp fuel container. It's meant for liquid camp fuel, not really for gasoline. One of those little red, it's like 1,500 milliliters. You only put 1,300 milliliters in it. I got one of those of gas, and it's a good thing I got it, because otherwise I might be walking before I get back at this rate. So probably go ahead and put that in tonight, just so it's out of my bag. I was never used it before. I was concerned if it would leak. I really didn't want it in my panniers, but it hasn't leaked, so that's good. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in tonight just to get it in there, and be supper here in a few minutes. Well, the spaghetti is about ready. The sauce was still cold, so heating the cooked spaghetti and sauce up now. Gonna eat some supper. The other thing that you're gonna have to think about if you're doing this trip is water, because there's no water source until maybe you get here towards the Green River, and I think that's what it is. Just before you get to Potato Bottom, there's a almost non-moving body of water there. I guess it's the river, I'm not sure, but of course you'd have to filter that, and I don't know how bad it is, but I drank 3 liters of water today, and that leaves me with about 3.5 more liters of left me with about 3.5 more liters of water. And of course I used quite a bit of water to boil that spaghetti, and I'm going to need some water to make some tea in the morning, and then enough water to get me out of here. So I think I'll come out about right, but it's probably a good thing I don't have any less, because I imagine it's probably all going to get used, because I've already put what was left of it in my backpack, which holds 2.5, and it's not full. So, you know, that's the other thing to think about, is the water and fuel range. And other than that, it's been a good time. I'm definitely ready to sit down on this log, because I don't carry a chair around, and have some supper.
If you watched my backpacking the Grand Canyon video, you'll get to see me eat 2 Mountain House meals plus a spaghetti MRE. And I would say that this spaghetti is just a little bit better than the MRE. I mean, this meat sauce is, spaghetti sauce is homemade. I made it. It was canned at one time, and then of course I took it out of the jar to bring it because the jar would have got broken on the way here, I'm sure. And of course I didn't need a whole jar, so I just froze a bag of it, and that actually worked out really well, and it's delicious. It's a little after 8 o'clock here, about 8:20 I think now. Probably getting ready to go to bed. It's dark out. Not much to do, I guess. I listened to a podcast, the latest episode of Criminal, about a gentleman that got taken for ransom in Colombia several years ago. Pretty interesting as usual. You're not allowed to have campfires here, unsurprisingly. They don't want, I'm sure, a risk of out-of-control fires, and mostly they don't want you collecting wood, chopping down trees out here. So, couldn't have one if I wanted to, but I never do anyway because I don't like my clothes to smell like smoke. So, anyway, wrapping up my evening, getting ready to hit the sack here. I think it'll be, forecast was maybe around 40 for the low tonight, which is warmer. That was where I was camping in by Moab, and this is like 1,000 feet lower elevation anyway. It's like just under 4,000 feet here where I'm at by the Green River. So I'm thinking it shouldn't be too cold. Sleeping bags rated for 15. Of course, that's with a pad, which I have, and a base layer, which I have on, and should be plenty warm, but it's not comfortable to 15, I'll tell you that anyway, but should be good tonight. Hopefully get rested up and get out here tomorrow. I think it's like 40 miles or so left of the road tomorrow, which takes me back to the pavement anyway, 40 miles back to the pavement, and a good bit of that will be that mineral road or whatever it's called. It goes by a couple names, and then I'll have my 20 or so miles back to my camper on the pavement. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the day. I know I did. I'm a little surprised that it went as well as it did, I guess, all things considered. Yeah, I nailed that one rock pretty good coming up the top of that hill, but I still can't get over that, and that didn't cause more problems, or didn't cause any problems really, but I'm surprised how well I recovered from that. Yeah, I know, I'm sure a lot of people would look at that video and say he did all this stuff wrong, and I'm sure I did. I'm not going to argue that I didn't, but it's really my first time on a real trail that amounts to much. So anyway, it's been a learning experience, and I'm glad to have you here along with me. See you tomorrow. So good morning, everyone. It's a little after 8 o'clock on this somewhat gloomy day. Just getting up, getting around, making some tea. Gonna have a smashed muffin and a bruised banana for breakfast, and pack up camp and head on out for the remainder of the drive. I don't really know what to expect today exactly, but I'm thinking it may be cloudy anyway. I know I can see that. Sunrise is supposed to be about 7:20, 7:30, I think, and it hasn't come up yet. It should come up behind that rock formation behind us there. Don't know if that's going to happen today, so it could be cloudy. I don't think it's going to rain, which is good, because I would absolutely hate to have to ride this in the rain. It just would add another layer of complexity and stress to it that somebody like me doesn't need. But anyway, gonna get breakfast, get things finished packed up here, and head on out, and we'll see you in a bit. Okay, it's a little after 9 o'clock, about 10 after 9 o'clock here. Getting ready to take off. As you can see, it's very overcast. The wind has picked up. It's not lovely out. It's not cold at least, but getting ready to hit the road, got everything packed up. Looks like we got about 25 more miles of dirt before we hit the pavement, and then I've got about another 20 some miles back to my camper. Definitely going to be pushing the fuel range of this, even with the added 1,300 milliliters, or be about 0.34 gallons or something.
So hopefully we don't end up walking. There's a gas station like right outside, just a mile from before I get to my camper, so I'll definitely be hitting that if I make it there. Otherwise I guess I'll be walking. So wish me luck, and have a good day. Wow, I just don't know if I'm together enough yet to do this morning. This is not that difficult, but I'm probably even going to edit this out just because it makes me look like an idiot. Like, maybe I should have stayed down in the wash. I don't know. One, two, three. Okay. Well, it's upright. Now I need to take a breather, I think. So there is quite a bit of a sandy wash here. I probably would have been a headstand down here, I'm guessing. Trying to cut up that was a mistake. I'm up there now, so I guess I'll go on around that. You can see people have went both ways.
This here is probably firmer than where I'm at, but it is what it is. Almost. Well, it looks like you got to drive up this wash quite a way, so this could be fun. I love picking up my bike. This should make for some good quality entertainment. Well, I paused for just a second. We're here at the intersection with Mineral Bottom Road and boat ramp to the left a mile, 1.6 kilometers, 12.9 miles to Highway 313, or 20.6 kilometers, or 34 miles, or 54.4 kilometers on into Moab. So hopefully we're good on fuel. I think we will be. We'll see. Well, it's a 11:15 here. I'm just about a mile from Highway 313, and then I've got, what, 12 miles back over to Highway 191, I think. So I'm like less than 15 miles or something, around 15 miles from being back here. And I'm doing pretty good on gas. My fuel economy really improved today. This Mineral Bottom Road is just a gravel road. I mean, you could drive a Prius down it, so it's pretty fast moving section, and I got 2.84 gallons used. Holds 3.8, so I would have a gallon left, and I put in like 0.3 something gallons, so I can go to 4.13 or something. But I probably would have, looks like I would have made it on the tank that it had, you know, looks like I would have made it on the 3.8 that it holds by default, so that's good to know. But boy, I would have hated to have been pushing that real closely. So it's nice to have the extra gas. You know, I don't even know if I'd do the trail again, but if I did, I don't know if I'd take the gas again. It looks like I probably would have been fine. So I guess we'll find out for sure here in just a little bit, and we'll probably see you on the pavement. Well, I've made it back. It's just right at noon here. I'm doing this inside because it's quite windy out. I just wanted to say a few things and wrap up my thoughts for the trip while it's fresh on my mind. I had 129 miles round trip, 206 kilometers, which includes my driving from my camper here just off Willow Springs Road, right by the main highway there in Moab. So a little bit of traveling time there added to it, but it's actually less mileage than I expected. Also, my fuel worked out fine. I had used 3.08 gallons, which is like 11.5 liters, 11.6 liters. And I had that extra small amount of fuel, 1,300 milliliters or whatever. And I went ahead and put that in just so I could get it out of the jug. But it turns out I didn't need it, and everything went pretty well, I guess, all things considered. The route was more challenging than I expected, I guess, overall. I mean, I expected most of the route to be simple or fairly simple, and a lot of it is, but the couple of sections that are tough, that one is pretty sustained for quite a while up that hill. That's definitely the one there that'll get you, I would say. I don't know if you were to ask would I do it again. I mean, maybe, especially after I had some more experience. But you know, I think it was fun. There's a lot of driving. I mean, just a lot of kind of driving, a lot of miles to do it. It was a good experience. You know, definitely something to check off the bucket list. But you know, there's a lot of other great things in the world to see as well, so I don't know whether I'd actually do it again. I probably wouldn't recommend it for new riders. I mean, most of it's not bad, but the section that is you know, fairly challenging and risky, because it's steep uphill and rocky, yeah, but it's also like an immediate drop off on that one side. It's a shelf road, and so there's not a lot of margin for error in that. And you know, I mean, when I look back on it, you know, it's all kind of a blur. I think it all, you know, I just focused and went and just made the commitment, and I don't really remember a lot of it, to be honest with you, at this point. But I mean, it's probably a good thing it went fast, I guess, because if I'd had a lot more time to think about it, I don't know, you know. This morning, I made more errors this morning than I made all day yesterday, and I think it probably, well, it's just because, you know, I don't think I was fully with it yet. I should have had at least one more cup of tea, I guess. But anyway, it was a great experience, I will say that. You know, and just a few reminders: if you want to do it, if you want to do overnight, make sure you get reservations. Try to make reservations way in advance for the overnight permits. On recreation.gov, you get those reservations.
And if you can't get an overnight right away, you know, keep checking. You might have some last minute cancellations. That's what I managed to get, was a last minute cancellation, I'm guessing, because there was no availability prior to a couple days ago. So you can also always, not always, you can get a day use permit for the road. That is 25 of those are issued online the day before. You can't reserve those way in advance. So like if I wanted to ride tomorrow, I could have started to get my permit for tomorrow like this morning. I forget what the time is. I think it's 8 a.m. or something. I don't know. I'll throw that up there. But you can't reserve day use permits like significantly in advance. It's like the day before you get those. 25 online, then 25 will be available in person at the office for walk-ups, or the remainder of the 25 that were online if those weren't all sold, but a maximum of 50. So those permits you'll pick up at just south of Moab, on the south edge of Moab, at the National Park's backcountry office, I guess it is. I'll leave some more information in the description about that, but you will need to be, you don't pick those up at the Island in the Sky Visitor Center. You get those in Moab. So keep that in mind. Overall, though, it was a great experience, and I'm glad to have you along for the ride.